Today we're going to talk a little bit about school councils. In 1989, there was a large Supreme Court case where the Kentucky Supreme Court ruled the entire school system in the state to be unconstitutional. And as a result, in 1990, the state legislature came back with the Kentucky Education Reform Act. That act has formed the basis for most of what has impacted teachers in recent years in Kentucky. And it says a lot about how school is handled. One of the things that happened in 1990 is that the legislature created school-based decision-making councils. It was an effort to try to formalize input from parents and teachers in the decision-making process. And today we're going to briefly consider what these councils are and what various areas of authority they have. Generally speaking, school councils have significant authority, denied even to the Board of Education, when it comes to curriculum and instruction issues at the school. However, there's a big but in this, and that is that any school council that does things that are too different from the way students are going to be assessed and the way the state sets up its monitoring systems is probably going to create some problems for itself. So while the council has pretty good authority to do some things differently, they're also limited by the fact that the state measures on some very specific kinds of things. So it's a bit of a good news, bad news situation, but it does put parents and teachers at the table when decisions are being made about the school. Let's take a look at a couple of those issues. What school councils do? Well, they are certainly were created with the hope that they would improve schools, that they would actually help schools close achievement gaps that exist between groups and increase achievement for all students. They also they have an interest in school safety, any kinds of things that might occur in the school that would create a safer environment for children. They are also required to analyze test scores from the school and to review those every year. So when school data comes out, testing data comes out, that's going to go before the school council and they're going to talk about what they see. We also have program reviews that are part of the Kentucky school system, particularly in the area of writing. And the school council will also ask questions about how those program reviews are going and whether or not the school is fully implementing what they should be doing in terms of teaching writing and assessing writing in the school. The council is interested in whether or not the school has been aligned with state standards, and in particular now there's a lot of interest in Common Core and making sure that all teachers are teaching the Common Core because that is the material that students will be tested on. The school council is also interested in technology use in the school, whether or not students have access to the kinds of technology they need to learn at their most effective. Another area that the council looks at is professional development. Professional development are those activities and the budgets that support them, of course, that relate to how teachers become better. And so that's part of it. The council has to pay attention to its own operations. And there are a set of policies that school council has to pay attention to. And among those are how do people approach the council? How does somebody speak to the council? What's the agenda for the council? And how often do school councils meet? All of those issues are dealt with by the council. School council members are also required to get training each year, 6 hours of training for new members, and then after that 3 hours of training. The school council is also very interested in the school budget, as you might imagine. With regard to the school budget, the council is very interested on the spending on staff. In fact, one of their biggest jobs is to determine what positions are going to exist in the school for the following year. The way that typically works in a district is the district office is responsible for submitting a tentative budget to the school by March 1st. Then the principal takes a look at that budget and works with the faculty to determine what positions they're going to have in the next year. Then that goes before the school council, and the council has to confirm that or change it or determine what the staffing budget for the following year is going to be by March 30th. And then that information goes back to the district and helps them build their budget. Councils are also interested in spending for textbooks and instructional materials and other kinds of things that might support student learning in the school. Another important duty of the school council is to help select personnel. Now, it's the principal that is responsible for recommending people for hire, and it is the superintendent that does the actual hiring. But that whole process is done in consultation with the school council. So what most schools do these days is they establish a policy that creates a committee that helps the principal review candidates. And so after the committee and the principal review candidates for a position, then those recommendations go forward to the council and to the superintendent. The council can't stop that recommendation. If a principal chooses someone different from the selection committee had recommended, that is a possibility that could occur. But a principal can't just go out and hire someone without having that conversation with parents and teachers as they look for the best person for the job. And there are a host of policies that derive from all of this activity, and you can see a number of them listed there. Policies that will state that the school is going to be aligned with state standards. Secondary schools are interested in college-level courses. How committees are formed, how the council will consult with the principal in hiring, issues related to school curriculum, classroom management, and safety. And let me stop here, because when I mention classroom management, and you can see discipline there as well, school council members are not in charge of either of those. They're in charge of policies that will govern how the school is run. But school council members are not in charge of disciplining students or in evaluating or counseling with faculty members either, just the policy part. Councils are interested in emergency plans, other kinds of programs that the school might run that would enhance student achievement, instructional practices in the school, a whole host of things. How the space is used, how students are assigned to classes. They can have something to say about how the school day is operated and how the week runs at the school, but it's the district that actually makes the calendar that all schools must follow. Now, in addition to all this, there are some things that school councils do not do. School councils do not run the school on a day-to-day basis. That falls to the principal and the teachers. School councils may not break state or federal laws, nor risk the health and safety of the students. They can't break contracts, and they shouldn't do anything foolish that might risk a lawsuit. And they have to stay within their budget. School councils cannot spend money the school doesn't have. There are some other things that schools don't do, school councils don't do, and that is they don't make a school better unless they can find some way to elicit the support of the whole community. Indeed, there are all kinds of schools in the country. The ones we find that do very well, however, have something in common, and that is they've got a community of responsible adults that are committed to making that school the best they can. And the school council can be a big driver of that kind of activity. And school councils don't make decisions outside of their areas of responsibility. They can't raise taxes, and they can't take over district responsibilities like determining how the buses run and those kinds of things. But within the realm of the school council's authority, they do have the ability to impact the quality of the school. Now, school councils take a little bit of effort. It takes more time for a principal to work with teachers and with parents and to give them all the information that they need to help understand how the school is running and to help them make decisions about the best direction for the school. I happen to like school councils. Not all principals do, because they are extra work. But it's my belief that when a school and the parents and the teachers all understand what's going on and they're all working for the same goal, and that is that they're going to help their students the best they know how, that's really the key to forming a better school.